Hi everyone, in this video I just want to show you how you can cut in half the execution time when you want to compile your LaTeX document. So here on the right we have a LaTeX document compiled using the Elsevier template, and I'm trying to write a paper. So this is my paper. It's a very short paper, as you can see. It's only 3 pages long, actually 2 almost, and I'm using the Elsevier article template. If you want to find out more about the Elsevier article template, I have another video on YouTube, so check down in the video description or search on YouTube, or I will put, you should see a note coming up here on the right corner of the video, and you can click on that if you want to find out more about the Elsevier template, okay? But the scope of this video is mostly to show you how you can reduce this gross execution time. And as you can see here on my computer, I need to execute and compile the document 3 times. So the first time is compiled, then I'm compiling the bibliography, and then I'm compiling main twice. Okay, main is the main file where all the other sections are included. Okay, so just to give you a brief overview about this document, is very simple. So we define the document class. Okay, we're going to change that in a second. Then we are going to import other packages, and I've nested them inside my preamble here. Then we have input, so we're inputting some acronyms, and then we're beginning the document. Okay, this document comprises 3 sections. Section 1 is introduction, then we have methodology and results. Of course, in a real paper, you will also have conclusion, discussion, and so forth. I just wanted to keep it simple, okay? Because the scope of this video is just to show you some few tricks on how to reduce the compiling speed. If you like this content, I would like to ask you if you can just hit the like button or subscribe to my channel, because it really helps me in understanding that you like this type of content, and it also helps because it tells the YouTube algorithm that you like this video. Okay, so please help me with that. So the first thing that I want to show you is that if you want to reduce this compiling speed, throughout the video we will see that this slightly varies. It's not going to be constant. It varies on a few factors, okay? And of course the main factor is how powerful is your computer. So if you want to reduce this compiling time, so let's compile again, and this number might be slightly different. So before was 2 seconds, 0.2. Let's go again and see how much it takes to compile the document. Okay, 2 seconds, 0.3. As I told you, it can vary a little bit. Is usually to use the basic article template, okay? So the Elsevier article template is very nice when you want to submit your paper, okay? But at the beginning, you don't need to use the full template. Just start with the article template, the basic one, okay? And compile your document. This should reduce the time that it takes to compile the document. And this is a big advantage because you actually, in this case, it has actually increased. Let's try again, but usually it does decrease. It depends on the resources that have been used on your computer. So unfortunately, we are not going to get consistent results all the time, but usually it should decrease the amount of time that it takes to compile your document, okay? And check on your computer to see how it affects. If in this case you see that consistently it takes more time, just keep using the Elsevier article template, okay? But usually the basic template should be fine and should be faster. So as you can see, it's varying quite a lot, okay? Another thing that I want to show you, which I think is very handy to reduce the compiling speed, is to set the PDF compression level to 0, okay? Because by setting the PDF compression level to 0 and PDF object compression level equal to 0 again, we are going to have a boost in the compiling speed. Of course, the downside is going to be that our file is going to be a little bit heavier, okay? So if you look here in the out folder, currently the PDF is 15,000 kilobytes, okay? So let's try to compile again, and let's add these 2 lines, okay? So PDF compress level equal to 0, PDF object compress level equal to 0. I will put this code down in the description so you can just copy and paste into your document. Let's compile again. In my case, I use Shift F10. I'm using PyCharm to compile this document. I haven't done a video yet on PyCharm and Texify on how to use LaTeX inside PyCharm. I think it's a fantastic tool, but I will create a video on that soon. So just check in my channel, and soon I should be able to upload a video. So let's press Shift F10 and let's check that now we have set the compression level equal to 0. So before was 15,000, so now is 19,000 kilobyte, okay? But we have reduced the execution time, okay? So before was 2.3. So let's check again once more. What's the difference? Okay, 2.2. Without these two line of code, okay, it should be 2.3. Again, it's not a massive difference, but we are decreasing the amount of time that it takes to compile the document. Okay, 2.4. So I've reduced of 0.2 seconds. Okay, so we're already going down in the time that it takes to compile the document. Another thing that you should use, or actually you should remove if you are not using them, are external packages. Okay. For example, I'm importing to-do notes, okay? So if I go here inside here, I'm importing a lot of different modules, packages inside because I want to use them, okay? Some of them I need to use them because bibliography and I want to use for figures, graphic and so forth, okay? But for instance, in this case, I decide not to want to use the to-do notes, okay? To-do notes, just to give you an example, is a package that you can add to-do notes, okay? Like for instance, to do, check this text. Let's go and compile, for example. So here in the introduction, can you see a to-do note as appear here? So this package is very nice and very useful, but at the same time, it also affects the time that it takes to compile the document, okay? So let's go to remove these to-do notes, okay? So if you're not using it, just remove it, okay? So let's go inside here, my preamble, okay? For you, maybe you're going to have all these use packages inside the main document. So let's comment that out, okay? Actually, let's run the document, the compilation twice, before with the to-do note package. So now we have the to-do note package and should take a little bit longer compare if we remove this package, okay? So now it's taking 3 seconds. Okay, let's run it one time more. As I show you, these numbers are not very consistent. Also, I'm recording this video and this is also using some CPU. So let's remove these to-do notes, okay? And we should see a reduction in the compiling time. Okay, actually it's quite massive because with just the to-do notes package, we were able, before was taking 2.5 seconds, now it has taken 2 seconds, okay? So we have changed the article template and we reduced 0.1, 0.2 seconds. Now we reduce other 5 seconds, other 0.5 seconds just by removing this to-do notes package, okay? But we can also, and we also have lost a couple of seconds when we actually we have gained a couple of seconds when we set the compression level to 0, okay? Now I want to show you a couple of other things that could also help, okay? One thing that it might help, it doesn't help that much usually, but it helps a bit. If you go here and custom compiler arguments, which I already added, is interaction equal to batch mode, okay? You can set that also in TextMaker if you're using TextMaker. So let's see how does it affect. So right now is taking 1.9 seconds to compile the document. And again, think about that this number is multiplied by 3, okay? So 1.7. It is actually changing a bit. Then we remove this one, okay? And should take a little bit longer, okay, to compile the document. 1.9. So we gain with that command 0.2 seconds, okay? Roughly. Again, don't take these, I mean, technically, if you want to have exact value, you should run the same code multiple times and check the average, okay? So let's compile this document with that command included. Then we can also use one thing that is going to be extremely helpful is also, or it could help, especially if you have a lot of figures, is to use the figures of the right size, okay? For instance, here we have a figure which is quite small, okay? So it doesn't have to have a very high resolution, okay? And this figure here is currently included in the results section. So we go in the results section, okay? And we change this figure from computer, okay? So here we have computer. So let me just show you the two figures. So we have manuscript, we have source file, we have figures. So we have computer, which is 4.5 megabyte, and we have a resized computer figure, which is actually much smaller, okay? So 1 and 2. So if we use this one instead of the big one, we're going to save a little bit of time. Again, So we can use, instead of computer, we can use computer small, and we can just simply resize that figure. And to resize that figure is super simple. You just go here, double click in Windows, right click, and then resize. Okay, and you can resize the figure. So again, in this case, we are also performing some other actions, so it took a little bit longer to compile the document, but just trust me on that. As you can see here, is a little bit faster because we have used the smaller figure. Okay, so right now it took 1.793 with computer small. Let's see if we get consistent result. Yeah, 1.7. If we go with the full figure computer, 1.8. Again, is 0.1 second. So we are always gaining a little bit, and it's not really changing much. So these all things are beneficial because overall, when you compile a document a lot of times, it's going to really change, okay, your productivity. And also, suggestion is, when you are actually working on LaTeX, don't always recompile the document. The fewer time you recompile it, the better it is, okay? So especially if you're working on the text, just read the text here. Don't always compile the document, otherwise it's going to take a lot of time. Of course, that is also a better way of approaching this problem, okay? So I've shown you how to resize an image, how to remove unnecessary packages, how to change the environmental variable, but now I will show you the two biggest tips, or the two best tips that you can use to honestly speed up the compilation of the document, okay? So these two, they can be used together. So one is to add here in the document class, okay, the option draft, okay? What is the downside of this? So the benefit is going to be much faster to compile your document, okay? We will see a massive gain this time, okay? So from 1.1 second, let's remove it. To 1.7. So almost we are cutting the time in half, okay? So this is a massive gain in the compiling speed. What is the downside? Well, the downside is that you are not actually refreshing the figure, you're not seeing the figure. So you see just an empty box, okay? So of course, you can just either copy this command, and one, you don't have the draft option, and you just comment the one that you like. So if, for instance, you want to describe the figure, you can remove the draft option, you describe the figure, but then eventually, as you go along and write the paper, just go back to the draft version, okay? So you don't need to compile every time the figure, and you have massive gain in the compiling speed, okay? The other command that they all generally suggest you is include only, okay? So right now we are not using, so we have different section in this document, okay? So as you can see here, we have begin document, and we have end document, we have the bibliography. But instead of writing the whole document here inside begin document, which I could have had, and I could have had like, let's say, let's just actually show you section, and we can have this section which is called abstract, and then you write something here. Okay, so let's recompile this document, and I just want to show you what's happening. So we have added a section, okay? Instead of doing this, because this main document is going to become very long, and it's going to be very difficult to track changes with Git and GitHub. And again, I have a video on Git and GitHub with LaTeX and Overleaf in my YouTube channel. So just check that if you're also interested in that. So instead of doing that, we have created sub-documents inside this section folder here. So we have introduction, and inside here we just have the same thing. So we have copy like that command section and all the text here. So the document stays more compartmentalized, and you can have one of your colleagues working on the introduction, reviewing this section, while you work on the methodology. So I think it's a much better approach, okay? So one thing that you can leverage if you divide the document in this way, if you go back here in the main text, is that you don't include some section. So you're only working on the introduction, while every time you have to recompile the results and methodology section. So you can do Shift F10 or recompile, and now we're recompiling only the introduction, okay? This also is going to speed up a lot the compiling time, because we are only including the introduction section, okay? So this is also very beneficial, okay? So right now it's taking 1.1, 1.2 seconds. So if I include all the sections, and just take the amount of time which is a bit relative. So is going to be faster because we are only including like introduction section, and especially if you don't have the draft mode, okay? Because why is taking longer to compile the other section? Because there are a lot of images. So let's keep all the images inside. You will see that the difference if you include all the section or if you only include the one that you are working is significant. So right now is 1.7. Let's comment these two out, and to comment that out I press Ctrl//. So you can see there is a massive benefit because the results and the methodology section have figures, okay? So it depends if you're in the draft mode or not. This is going to also speed up quite significantly your compiling speed, okay? Another option, instead of having to comment all this section here every time, is to use instead of the command input, you can use the command insert, okay? I will show you some benefits, some negative of these two commands. So these two commands are very similar. I will not go into detail what is the main difference between these two commands. One negative side of using insert is that it's going to include a clear page. So it's going to include a next page command after every command. So let's just go and have a look, okay? So you have to compile it twice once you change from input to insert. Yes, so everything should be fine. So let's just 1 second, I check what is going wrong. Sorry, I got confused. Instead of insert was wrong, should be include. Okay, so we have input and include. Okay, let's just check what is the main difference between input and include. For us, at least, that we're writing the document, we don't want to go too much into detail. Okay, so if you have input, you don't have a clear page after the each section. Okay, so let me just show you input, 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 F10. Can you see there is no clear page between the section? And I think it's nicer, honestly. But if you, instead of using input, you use include, okay? So let's just change it to include. You're going to have a clear page before and after the section, okay? So as you can see here, there is some white space and some white space here. It's good for books, but for articles, is actually not a really wanted feature. It's not something that I really like, okay? So what is the workaround to this? Is to use the package which is called new include. Okay, so we have to add this package here at the top. Let's use package new include. Okay, and now instead of using include, we can use include star, include star, include star. Okay, this is going to remove the clear page between the sections. Okay, so we are in the same situation as before with the input or with the input or include package. Okay, what is the advantage of using the include, and why I've been talking about this include package? Is because we can only include some sections. Okay, so instead of having to comment these sections here, we can have a command here at the top, include only. Okay, and let's actually add me all the sections. Let me add all the sections here, which have to be comma separated. Okay, so let me add this one. So if I run this code right now, nothing will change because it's exactly the same because I'm including all the sections, section introduction, methodology, and results. Okay, so all three sections are included here. What is the main difference? If I want to just compile the introduction, I can comment out these two sections, recompile the document, okay, and I'm going to compile only the introduction section, and which is going to be very good, okay, because it's going to speed up the computational time and the compilation time, okay. So I just want to show you that roughly this compilation time unfortunately is changing while I'm recording this video and it's not being constant, but we started with a compilation time of 2.2 seconds, okay, and now we have cut it down in half, okay, and this is varying every time, but we can reach up to 1.1 second, 1.2 seconds. Actually, in this case, can you see, is 1 second, and you have to think that is multiplied by 3, okay, so by implementing these little changes, okay, because are just very little changes, such as the compression level, such as including images which are resized, removing unnecessary packages, or using the right document class, you can really speed up the compiling time for your computer, and you can really save time, and you can increase your productivity. I really hope you find this video useful, and please, if you did, just consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. And yeah, check my channel because I've released a lot of other videos on LaTeX, on PyCharm. So if you're interested, just have a look and see if you can find something interesting over there. Thank you very much for listening.